Afternoon everybody. This is a completely freestyle snowmobile and sledge made from 3 plastic Meccano tub sets. One was a 150 piece bucket that has been fairly recently available at Aldi. Any rumours you have heard of me hoarding Meccano from Aldi in these troubled times is completely fictitious, maybe. No, there's none left at the moment these days. They were quite cheap though, $17.99 a set, and it's probably about 6 to 8 weeks ago now, to be honest. They all seem to go though, which is a good thing, hopefully. I only bought one. The other 2 sets, one was an 100 piece bucket from, I think it was around about 2015 I bought that one. That was from Home Bargains, they had them in there. And the other set was a charity shop set from Beaumaris on Anglesey, which was, shall we say, 95% complete, but it was only £3. This is completely fictitious in design just by looking at 1 or 2 photographs. The sledge at the back is completely made up by myself, and the idea was to do this video in some snow, but we haven't had any this year, not anything worth worrying about anyway. And of course now we're in the 3rd week of March. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely we'll get any more snow of any depth whatsoever. So what better time, especially in these times of everybody being sat indoors, perhaps doing things they haven't done for a while. If you've got one, dig out those Meccano sets and have a go. It took a while to come up with the right sort of design in my head, and after playing around quite a bit, to get some of the right angles with the almost 3 sets limited supply of parts. And I have cheated in 2 places with parts from more modern Meccano, or I should say more traditional, whatever that is these days, Meccano sets, but I'll come on to that in a bit. It's come out quite a nice chunky size, which with plastic Meccano models tend to have to be. Now a lot of these parts, especially the larger strips, are a little flexible, not as flexible as the original 1965 plastic Meccano, but it can be bent a little bit, but go too far it will snap, and it's not that far. It's a good starting point, I suppose. The downside from my point of view more than anything with the plastic Meccano, especially when it's new, is because it's so shiny, the nuts and bolts and parts can come loose a little bit easily. Starting at the top, we've got the handlebars, somewhere for the rider to sit. To the rear we've got the tow bar and the connection to the sledge. This uses sort of stub axles or pivot pins. They're essentially so you can run wheels nice and freely on a bit of a smooth ready-made axle, as it were, from the sets. However, if I'd have just left it without those rubber grommets you can see from more traditional, well, modern-ish sets, those spread the forks out a little bit of these pivot pins, the stub axles, and stop the strip coming off, and you don't leave the sledge behind. Of course, it's meant to pivot so it can go over undulated ground a little bit. Moving to the front, we've got the skis or the skids, and these actually pivot. As you can see, they go up and down a bit. Not a lot, but a little bit of movement. And I bet you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, there's no lock nut there. No, there isn't. There's no encapsulated nut. No, there's not. But how does it pivot without the nuts and bolts coming loose and falling apart? More by luck than judgment, if you look here, you'll see that the bolt below becomes very close, in fact touches a little bit, the nut, the side of the nut, therefore acting as a locking piece, shall we say, to prevent the nut from turning completely. Or I think it probably prevents it turning altogether. Well, there's slight movement, hardly anything. Now, the snowmobile itself, you'll see the tracks there on the rear wheels. Those are from a 15 model multi-model set from about 2012, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice to add a bit more realism? But it does work quite nicely, as you can see. The construction of the rear is the most awkward because it required a lot of fiddling with brackets that I hadn't really got that many of and could have done with some more, but we got there in the end. There are 1-bolt fixings, but we got away with it again due to, well, look, I'll be honest, it's just luck. And here we have those 1-bolt fixings there and there and there. It's this one really that's the most problematic, but due to the close proximity of this strip to the inside of this angle bracket here, if it moves, it'll only move a fraction. Now it was the same up here, and this whole section here is sort of monocoque in a way. All this stays in place nicely because of the aforementioned strip, not allowing much movement, and all this on top, securing it at the other end. It can come loose, but not very often and not very easy. It is a basic model, you just have to be a bit more careful with it, to an extent, but really it's fairly robust. So there you go folks, my freestyle plastic, or junior Meccano to give it its proper term these days, snowmobile with its sledge, which is a very basic thing. I had enough parts to get on with it. And that's it for now folks. See you again soon.